Alright, we do folks here, boom, Marcus 1225 numbers after the name, little Marcus and friends action. You already know how we be is doing. Got some audio on this one, man. Weird with like the Overcooked recordings. For some reason, I had so many audio issues, kind of. This one we actually went back and did over, if memory serves me right. We did the whole camp DLC. We did a bunch of other DLCs. The captain and crew rolling with me. And for some reason, the Kevin 1 and 2 recordings, no idea where they were. So I was like, gotta go back. We gotta find this. We gotta get this Kevin 1 and 2 done. I don't even think I may have not even done it on like my thing. He may have just done it on his own or whatnot. But as you can see, elaborate. It's really cool, the Kevin stages in particular, because you know it kind of Overcooked does it very well, right? Where like the first, second, third are kind of like stages like, hey, like get to know this, get to figure this out, learn these mechanics that we're throwing at you, and then if there's a 4, 5, 6, we kind of throw it a little bit harder. 6 is kind of a boss thing, right? The 5th one is like, hey, like this is pretty intense. And then it's the Kevin ones that are just like, by the way, everything you did, like put that on steroids and then run it. You know what I'm saying? And that's pretty much what we got going on over here with different portals, different ways of serving, a lot of mixing. It's still, to me, and I bring it up almost every time we do one of these videos, it's just like it's. I don't know. It's a little bit weird to me that there's an Overcooked 3, and maybe there will be at some point. There's Overcooked clones, and there's games that apparently are kind of good like Overcooked. I forget. Man, I can't remember now. I have to look it up. At the Game Awards, they did announce what the company that makes Overcooked is doing next. Something completely different. And I was like, oh, interesting. Which is good. Good on them. Every developer and every company should be able to do whatever they want. That's fine. I don't want them to just turn into like an Overcooked clone kind of making machine. But man, I feel like this game had a lot of good success. But I don't know. Then I go and think about it as well. Like for all these Overcooked games that I've shown and demonstrated, I think I've only purchased Overcooked 1 on like sale for like $5 on the eShop, right? Like I think Overcooked 2 has been on PS Plus or Game Pass this whole time. Once again, that's one of those where attributed as what it is, right? Like the financial ramifications of that, I'm not sure. I always caution when saying, I was like, oh, the game's free because it's on Game Pass, because that's just not true. Like it's clearly not free. You're paying for Game Pass. I assume that for I think Hello Games made Overcooked, Supergiant, I forget now. I assume for them, it compensates them to have it there and to keep it there, or maybe it's the opposite around. It compensates Xbox, therefore they have to have it on there. I'm not 100% structurally how that works, but I'm curious basically as to why they're not in 3 as financially. Although these games were huge, and although they are an ultimate party game, and although everyone seems to kind of have them, maybe they didn't have the financial backing or the financial selling of other titles or other games. And I'm curious about that in all Game Pass games. I think it's pretty obvious. I'll use Indiana Jones as an example. I'm just starting to play that. Game comes out on Game Pass. I assume barely anybody on Xbox buys it. I mean, there has to be a contingent of Xbox players that don't have Game Pass. And maybe they buy Indiana Jones, but it makes sense as to why that game, for example, is going on PlayStation, because like people actually buy it there. Call of Duty, for example, like there's never any doubts that Call of Duty is still going to come out on PlayStation, although it's an Xbox title these days, and it's on Game Pass. But the amount of revenue that you leave on the table, especially from Xbox, was just now almost seems more like a I don't want to call it just subscription service, but they seem much more platform agnostic, let's put it that way, which I think in the short term definitely helps their business model, because you get to just sell everything as much as you can to everybody and the highest bidder. On the long term, I would be worried about the health of the Xbox, because I don't know why you want an Xbox now outside of, I guess, the Game Pass part of it, which is a huge aspect of it. But if you only play a handful of games, like if you're like, I only really need Call of Duty from the Xbox side of things, you're perfectly fine and living in the PlayStation ecosystem with all, by the way, the exclusives they have, which do come to PC eventually, but damn sure ain't come to nobody else. Either or, no Overcooked 3 anytime soon. Kevin 1 down packed. We'll keep working through the rest of them over here.